Hello. Good Tuesday. Ooh, y'all feel that? Stretching. It's Tuesday. And let's set up. I always set up. Let's get the right color. Yes, we are live. Hello. Hello. We are about to get going. We're about to get going. Hope your day has been well. It's once again Tuesday. Man, another live screen. Excuse me. Getting all these burps out. Hopefully, the week is treating you right. We got some things to talk about that I feel will be. We got some things to talk about that I feel will be helpful. As always, stay in there. Had a long talk with the bro on the way back today, so we just came back. Had to drive back home, back to the city for medical doctor's appointments and stuff. Whole good stuff. And yeah, man, I was just thinking on the conversation I had with the bro. Well, times is getting hard for people. And it's nothing new, right? Times getting hard, costs going up, or it seems like the world is just feels like your whole world is coming down. Yeah, I'm not talking about, well, this relates to education because funny enough, all this relates to education, believe it or not. Funny thing about wars, after wars, usually from history, some always sparks with education at the wars. It's kind of interesting, right? At least in college, things happen like ways to go to school more at the wars happen and this and that. Because, when you go to college, it helps build the workforce, which leads into the first topic, of course. But times are getting hard for people. And I know when you hear me talking about college, I always try to be uh I guess you would say real, but I always try to be like I love to be in the moment and realization. And so when you think about it, it's like I don't want to hear about college. I need this. I need to pay for that. Pay for this. I need money. I need it now. Pretty much. I need to find that. I think that was a commercial. Oh yeah, it is a commercial. It's my money and I need it now. Like that. And so I know. Sometimes you just hear me talking about college and you're like, what is he talking about? Why does that even matter? That's not gonna help me go to school. I know, I understand it. I really get it. I feel it. I was that person. I always have to, I must have to start doing that, reinforcing that. Like I was a big anti-college person when I first started going to college or doing certificates. And it's funny because we don't consider people at the time. I didn't consider myself to really be going to college just because I got a certificate. And I've been using this mouse. Yeah, I've been using this mouse. And I just like to say that I was a big like, you don't need to go to college. You don't need the da 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 to be successful. Like, I think some people forget that. Like when I went to Title One school, poverty school, college is not in the plans. And so sometimes you have to reinforce that to people because most people when they see me, they don't know who I am. 99% of the time, they don't know who I am. They don't know the backstory. So you have to inform people like, I used to say the same thing about college. And then when I went to college, yeah, the income starting out is not the best, but as you climb the ranks and as you want to level up and slowly, gradually go up, it's like a rewarding career field if you choose the right career field. Now, if you're choosing a career field that's going to be stagnant, I wouldn't choose that career field. You have to choose career fields that's going to be rewarding, right? But that's boring. We want to talk about something that's important. Employers. And so, I got to do my disclaimer and hydrate because, when I move around and I travel a lot and I do a lot of moving, this side, that puncher lung area, I think it's not the lung. I think it's the soreness from the surgery. It starts to like, makes me like have to hydrate. and as if I wasn't drinking water today. You know, unfortunately for me, it's like something's always trying to slow me down, but it's like a book bag of rocks. I just keep adding rocks to it because it's like I'm just gonna keep going. You just have to keep going. And then I have something to say. I was watching a Jay-Z interview too. It's his recent GQ interview. And as you see, oh well, you can't see it, but you see a little bit of that corner over there. I have a Jay-Z picture up there, right? So Jay-Z always, I'm a strong believer that Jay-Z gives wisdom when he speaks in his interviews. And he actually gave some more wisdom in his interview. And he was like, what he say? He was like, dang, it's one of the moments that just left me. I was trying to explain that. I mean, dang. It was a good too. It was good. It's gonna hit me later. It's gonna hit me later. But let's just do disclaimer. I had it too. I had something to say because I was like, I had something to say. Hydrate, punch a lung. Man, I don't know. I forgot it. And it's gonna hit me later. But pretty much the interview was good by Jay-Z. But dang, it was something I was gonna say. And I hate that. I forgot. I hate that. I promise you, y'all, I didn't have that problem until I went to college. What are you saying? I'm blaming college for that 110%. I'm blaming college for my brain farts because I be having the thought in my head, ready to say it. And then by the time I say the context, I forget sometimes. And that irritates me so much. Close that out. All right. Disclaimer. Remember that the videos presented here are for informational purposes only. And therefore, if you are to choose an institution, please do your own research. I am not at least speaking in this current moment, speaking on behalf. I'm not representing any institution. I'm not a financial aid specialist. That's on Financial Aid Fridays. I got to reach out to Sam and see if he will be available this Friday. Matter of fact, that's for Financial Aid Fridays. Not an academic advisor at the moment during this live screen, or I'm not representing any institution. I'm not. So you should definitely do your own research before choosing an institution. And why do I always say it's important to do your research before choosing an institution? Because, excuse me, it's important because you never know what you're getting into. It's so much like, honestly, doing these live screens with you all makes me so much more informed of like, wow, I was really making careless decisions while going to college. And you can do the simple, I just want to go to school, I don't care about this, I don't care about that, I don't care about this, but times are changing. And it's good to be aware of certain things. And I always think about what could happen. Like something unique can happen to somebody. Like me, I had a punctured lung, right? And who knows? Like we already know how medical is, and we ain't gonna get into that. I say that for my medical people out there, talk about the medical industry. But you just never know. You don't never want to be in a unique situation, and then now college is just completely out the window. So we try to learn all the maneuvers, talk about, build some motivation up. Because a lot of this college stuff, believe it or not, I tell people all the time, it's about submitting your assignments, but it's also about focusing and finding, I want to use the right word, focusing and just having fun and gaining momentum and confidence to keep going. It's very like consistent, like a lot of consistency in this. You got to be consistent for 4 to 5 years, for some people 4 to 6 years to get a piece of paper, right? And some people stop not because it's hard, they just get bored. So you have to find comfort, and you have to find comfort in being bored. And that's why I like investing. That's my analogy of it, because investing can be boring if you got this one company. You like, this company keep outperforming. Why would I go find another company, right? Disclaimer: not a financial advisor, but you just put it in terms like that. And then I do the life perspective, because I feel like life is our biggest project. I wrote a paper about that in school, or a discussion post, probably both. I know in undergrad I did. And sometimes life can be so simple if you just be comfortable with what you have. You can add things on slowly, but if you, oh, I like that, I like this, I like that, I like this, I like that, I like this, you just want to keep, just saying, just giving my experience, because as a college student, I got comfortable with being bored. And when you're being bored, sometimes that's the best thing to do when you're trying to navigate all these things going on in the world and you're just a college student with some naiveness in there. So let me pull this up for you all, because I don't think it's gonna be the main one, but it's gonna be a starting point, just in case we need sound. And I want in a video in the beginning, so that's gonna be a goal. All right. So before I start talking about this, now you see the title. For my people on YouTube, you probably see the title. If you're on LinkedIn, you probably don't see the title. But you see that I mentioned that degrees are more valuable. I use something around that language. Let me see. I said employers won't. Oh, yeah, I kept it very simple. Good job. I said employers won't. I said employers want degrees. And the reason I said that, because of course, I go to for all my sources. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I definitely picked the topics. As soon as I got off the road, I came off the road and I saw a topic. Whatever topic interests me, I jump on it right then and there. And so when I got fresh off the road, it caught my attention that employers are like, degrees are important. We hear the myth. That's why I use the thumbnail. We hear the college myth all the time that like college is losing value, degrees are losing value. Should I be going to college? And then the people who go to college are like looking at the people who are saying that college is whatever it is, like college is a myth, pretty much, or degrees are losing value. We're looking at you like, huh? Because I'm gonna be honest with you, from a money perspective, if you are a money person, like money hungry person, as long as you got people on Wall Street, you're always gonna need degrees. That nips it in the bud right there. And then as long as you're gonna have teachers and professors, college is not going nowhere. For my educators out there, as long as you need surgery, don't be like my guy that we talked about on the last live screen not too long ago. As long as you need health, you got health problems, you got knee problems, or things like me trying to learn how to walk and work out again. As long as you got them problems, you're going to need those type of people, physical therapists. As long as you keep getting into law problems and run-ins with the cops or whatever, you're going to need lawyers. So as far as I see it, you're going to need a degree. So I don't know what these degrees losing value, because when I look at the data, according to Chronicle Higher Education, they said the people who hire still see college degrees as valuable. According to the Gallup, if I said it right, Gallup, I don't know, but I'm gonna say Gallup, and the Lumina Foundation, which today released results from a survey of 2,000 people who extend job offers. So they did a survey of 2,000 people who extend job offers, right? And about half of the employers agreed degrees are required for success. At most of the jobs in the organization, 48% said that, hey, they agree jobs like degrees are required for success, while 29% disagreed with that. Now, a lot of people might say, well, that 48% could be saying that so you do go to college and so they can pay you little to nothing, right? Then, like, if you got that type of view, that's okay, because it's good to have I guess that's out. I call it out the box thinking. It's good to have a different perspective, right? And then the people who say 29% are like, look, in my view, the 29% could be like, I pay like $200,000 or $300,000, 400, 500,000 or whatever to get an Ivy League degree. And my friend, like, I got a bro right now who sell cars. He makes more than me, like right now. And so it's like, I went to school, studied, crammed my head over a desk and all that. And I know people who sell cars, sell this, sell that, and they make way more money than me. It can be so many perspectives, right? But in this case, we are talking about like, hey, 48% of people said degrees are required for success. And then 3/4 indicated the degree has a staying power, staying power. 3/4 indicated the degree has staying power. Oh, yeah. So when people say the degree, I'm gonna be honest with you, that trips me up a lot, because you really shouldn't word it like that. You should be like 3/4 indicated that degrees have staying power, but they wrote it 3/4 indicated the degree has staying power. They probably just, I don't know. So saying it will remain as important or become more important for getting a job in 5 years. Now, if you notice, I don't know if anybody's been paying attention. Like I said, I'm not being an expert. I'm just looking at it through my lens and my eyeballs. I got really big eyeballs, right? So I watch the World Economic Forum when I do have literally downtime too. But when you watch the Economic Forum, they're talking about 5 or 10 years out. When you read these articles, they're talking about 5 or 10 years out. When you read investments, 5 or 10 years out. You know, if you pay attention to the variables, they're talking about AI, data centers, education, workforce, money, whatever, right? And it's all about the next 5 to 10 years. Why? Because in the next 5 years or 4 years now, really, we're going to be in a new decade. And when you go into a new decade, it's kind of like things fall off. Like, you know, social media is still probably going to be around, but things like social media might fall off, or walking around with a touchscreen phone is not cool no more. So people going back to flip phones. I don't know. But when you enter a new decade, things are starting to change and the world is going towards something new that needs to drive the workforce, that needs to drive the economy and all this good stuff, right? So they're saying like, hey, degrees are probably going to be more valuable. And I think that's true, because if you think about AI, more people think certificates are the way, people think AI is the way, people think this and that, all these other resources. I don't need to go to college. In reality, you probably need to go to college, because all this turmoil going on with wars, and a lot of universities, at least in my industry, a lot of universities have been laying people off. Apparently, NYU, New York University, their non-tenure professors, I believe, are going on strike. Speaking of that, they're actually speaking of that. It's crazy. Speaking on behalf, man, come on, man. I need a button for that. Shout out speaking on behalf of that name. That was very creative at the time. And so they're going on strike. NYU, they got like 950 people going on strike because they want more money, more protection on like not losing their job. And so that's kind of interesting. I love to see that, because I think a lot more like schools specifically should do that, because they are underpaid. Like, if you knew what a lot of people do on a day-to-day basis to make sure you are okay as a student, I think you would appreciate it a lot more. And that's just me being a staff member for since I was 18, that we do a lot more than we should. And we're not complaining. We just saying like, we just want some, you know, anybody, some, what's that word? Reparations. We just want some reparations. And so as we keep going, still on the same topic, but it says most would prefer candidates with degrees. I'm just hitting the highlights right now before we go into this document I have up. It says most would prefer. I just like to let y'all see stuff so y'all know I'm not just making this up. And y'all can see that I have the foundation up here too. Can y'all see that highlight? Let me make sure y'all can see that highlight. Yeah. So y'all see where I'm getting this from. It says most would prefer candidates with degrees. 3/4 wanted an associate or bachelor's degree, even for jobs that don't require them. Hiring agents with a hiring agents with a 4-year degree or higher were much more likely to feel this way than those without one. And that's interesting, right? That's not my words. That is literally like from, and let's see if we can find that in this document. Because usually when they do the highlights, they pull from the document. And so let's see. And it's right there. And so why do I got that down there? So what am I looking at right now? Not y'all. I'm talking about something on my side, doing technical stuff. So as you can see, they say right here, about 3/4 of employers say they would prefer candidates to have an associate or bachelor's degree. And I tell you all that you should get an associate's degree, not because I feel like telling you that, because I'm a fake YouTuber who knows anything about college, but I went and got my associate's degree. I worked at a community college. I currently work at a community college. And I seen the value in like getting an associate's degree early. Like you're able to get, like for me at least, being in Georgia, you look up the city, Columbus, Georgia, too. We have a lot more like government jobs in that city. What else? Government, like low company jobs, like Airflac is there. That's like the only major ones, Synovus and stuff. But when you have an associate's degree, it makes you like you can compete with somebody with a bachelor's, but somebody who don't have a someone who doesn't have a degree, someone who does not have a degree, right? And they're trying to do like a front desk job. I always tell people I think a front desk job is the best job while being in college, because all you gotta do is respond to emails and phone calls, and that's just a simple job to be in college. You don't have to take no work home. And so you're competing against people who don't have a job, don't have a degree, and you have an associate's degree. They're more inclined to take you with the associate's degree. That's how I got my jobs at my 2-year first. Then when I transferred to Valdosta State University, that's how I got a full-time job. And I had an associate's degree. And some people had their bachelor's, but it was kind of weird. Like, you got a bachelor's, why are you trying to come here? And so it's like associate's degree is just so powerful. It can give you that's what I wanted to do. It can give you a great return on investment. I wanted to say, like, turn your Walmart job or your fast food job into associate's degree. I wanted to make a video on that. That was going to be a clean video. Why? Because, man, y'all make a lot of good money, man. Like, I had like don't get me wrong, I was sitting down at my job, and I would love to hear people's perspectives on that. I was sitting down at my job, getting an associate's degree, but you do make good money, man. And you can use that job while you're getting your associates. Then you get your associates, you level up and go to a better job. And so, like, get you a government job. Maybe you work in education. Maybe you work for actual government. Maybe you work at the police department. Like, police department needs paper pushers. People forget that. They need paper pushers. Or they probably need people with AI now. Like, hey, do you know how to work AI? You'd be surprised how many people don't know how to work AI right now. So, like, AI is really in demand. Like, if you have a little bit of skill of it, you can go far right now with that. And so they said, but employers are not getting everything they want from college graduates. They said only 54% said students graduate with the skills they need. Now, that's a problem. And I think that's right here. About 54% of employers say U.S. colleges and universities are graduating students with the skills their organization needs. They said, how long? They said they are. Only 54% says students graduate with the skills they need. Only 54. Let's go into detail. So it says that the contrast sharply, that contrast sharply, I probably said that wrong. That contrast sharply with the 9 and 10 students who express confidence they are learning career relevant skills in polling that Gallup and Lamenia released earlier this year. I'm going to look up this word. If I'm going to be seeing this word a lot, I need to learn it. Hold on, guys. Let me see. Pronunciation.
Lumina.
Lumina. It's Lumina. Lumina. At least y'all know I'm not trying to, as we like to say, flex on y'all. Like I just know I pronounce every word. Lumina. So Gallup and Lumina released earlier this year. So only 54%. So 54% of employers say U.S. colleges and universities are graduating students with the skills their organization needs. I don't know, because my skill set was different. Like, so I work in higher education. I learned a lot of my skills based on the environment I grew up in. I learned a lot more. I learned more how people move in jobs from coworkers. Shout out to them. But a lot of my skill set came from real life experience because I work with humans every day. So college wasn't really going to teach me how to work with humans, if that makes sense. You can teach me about the behaviors of humans, like how humans thought process is. And like I was talking to one of my kinfolks about that. So okay, kinfolks, if anybody wonder what a kinfolk is, you hear it probably before. So some people might say it's a southern thing, I don't know. But when we say kinfolk is like when you adopt someone as family, pretty much like a cousin, even though they're not really no form or fashion your cousin, but based on the environment y'all grew up in, that community, you consider them your cousin. And that is related to what people might say, oh, that's my twin, that's my homie, whatever, brother or dude, whatever. And so that's kinfolk. So I was talking to one of my kinfolks, and I told him that you was really never a civilian because he went to the military. And of course, I'm in the military. But before the military, it was like that environment is already like you have to be so good with your people skills that you need to know, like, don't stare at nobody in that environment. Y'all probably heard it in the interviews, you probably heard it in all these other ones, but in reality, when you're a person that's not like part of anything in that environment, you have to know, like, you don't stare at people. You got to be well mannered because you never know who mom you're talking to. You never know who grandma you're talking to. You never know who sibling you're talking to, who cousin you're talking to. So you always want to be on your best behavior, right? And always show respect to people and show kindness to people, even though you don't know who they are. And that goes a long way. And that's where I take that into the real world, where most people don't do that. They treat janitors, custodians, homeless people any kind of way. And you never know who that homeless person or janitor or custodian could be. And now I know it's popularized on social media now, but in an environment of low income and poverty, you have to have that type of well demeanor customer service that I just felt like school wasn't going to teach me that. And so I can see what they're saying in school about like half about the skills you need, but school did teach me how to organize a lot better. Time management, I did learn that in undergraduate. That was part of my degree about time management. It was a painful class, but it helped a lot. Intro to computers, I think that helped a lot. Just closing the app and opening the app, learning how to work the folders, organizing your folders. I don't know. For me, using that software, I don't know who made that software for Intro to Computers, like Comp 1000. That class was beautiful. That was a beautiful class. And so it says that too. And I took another one too in not graduate school, in undergrad at my university. I took another one that took it to another level. Helpful classes, because people always need somebody that can organize folders, keep like things organized. And it's a cool job if you actually think about it, because you can telework. You don't really need to be there, because 9 times out of 10, the person who wants you to organize and do all this stuff, you could do that from home. Unless it's like if you're doing all that inventory stuff, that's different. But if it's like really keeping like the boss, like if you got a boss, keeping it's like, oh, executive assistant. That's what it is. Like when you see like, oh, I'm the executive assistant to the president or something, that person is keeping them organized. So you can think of them like a manager or whatever, but they work directly with the president or somebody who's very, very high level, always in meetings. So that's people actually can get a master's degree in that, by the way, and make over 6 figures for that, because busy people don't have time to manage themselves. Fun fact. So 2/3 said recent graduates need significant training after being hired in order to find success in their role. And I just said that. I didn't even know that was next on the list. They said 69, 2/3. I think that's it right there. 69% of employees say recent graduates need a great deal or moderate amount of additional training. And I always like to bring it back to you guys, like why you need to know this and why is this important? Because when you are a college student or getting ready to be a college student or currently in college, you need to know like what the data is saying. Now, I'm be honest with you. Did I care about the data? No, I didn't. And so, but for you, it makes it better for you because then you know what the market is looking for. And when you know what the market is looking for, you know how to examine your school and what you're looking for in your school. And so you might say, well, the best schools they're training the best students, but it depends on the major. Like some people might know I got to use Harvard. I just like using these schools because everybody knows them. Like if you go to Harvard, I know Harvard because they're business school. Or I know about Columbia because they're business school. That's me though. But I don't care about the medical side if they have one. I don't even know if Harvard or Columbia has a medical school or not. See? But some people might just know it majority for something that's like they don't prepare people well. This is a whole example. Maybe they don't prepare people well in the medical field at Columbia, for example. And so that's something to think about. Like some people, it's like sports. Like some people want to go to this school because their basketball team is good, but their academics is terrible. So I literally was just talking to Atlas about that. I was like, you want to go here, but I would never go to Ole Miss. You know, I really would never go to Ole Miss. Like anybody who goes to Ole Miss, like you better make it professional in whatever sport you're doing because it's in Mississippi. Mississippi has like one of the worst educations. That's not me talking. That's like stats. And so you going to get your education in the worst place. I'm like, what are they saying in their recruitment? Are they just throwing money, pouching money? Because that's the only way I can see it. And so you just have to think about that. And you have to also realize too, based off data. Me and Alex was at this trivia thing, right? And so just because I knew the data, let me tell you how funny this is. Because I knew the data from education, they said what state has the most vice presidents? I said it's gonna be somewhere up north. Why? Because the South is known to not have a great education. Even though I got my education in the South is not known to have great college education. I can't speak for K through 12. They're not known to have great education. So when the trivia answer it came up, New York, that was a lucky guess on my part. I said, huh? It was somewhere up north. Then I said, it could be New York. Lucky guess. I promise you, lucky guess. But if you follow the trend, you think about presidents, you go look at presidents, and you go look at vice presidents. This was vice, so that's where it really was lucky. But you go look at past presidents and you think about where they went to college. A lot of them went to Harvard. A lot of them went to Columbia. A lot of them went to school up north. Warren Buffett went to school up north. Charlie Munger, I believe, went to school up north. All these billionaires and wealthy people went to school up north. It's rare you're going to see like somebody from the South doing something. They're like the more politicians, like governors and stuff like that. Low, I don't want to say low level. It's still high level being a governor, but you narrow a lot of things down when you just know the data. And I didn't realize how valuable data was until I went to grad school. Funny enough. So shout out to grad school. And then as you keep going, what else they say? I feel like as we're going through the highlight, what we at right now in time? Oh, we just hit 34 minutes. That's really good. So it says 4 in 10 said they have to hire foreign-born workers because they see a shortage of American candidates with needed skills. And I'm gonna blame social media for that. I'm blaming social media. Oh, it's right there. I'm blaming social media. About 4 in 10 employers say they have to hire foreign-born workers because of the perceived shortage of American workers. Honestly, this could be a lot of, as I know, Americans, as we say, college is not valued. I'ma just, whatever through school and not pay attention. And so I was talking about that too. I like to relate things to real life. I was talking to a coworker about that. And so like just the dress code on college on college campuses and everything. I don't know if people know this, but I got extra brownie points for dressing up for class. FYI, you don't have to do that, but a collar shirt and dressing nice in college goes a long way. And that's when we was going to school in person, or when I was going to school in person. And so that helped out a lot. They got me like extra brownie points, changed, make sure I got an A, even though I was struggling in the class with a B or C. Got me to a B, got me to an A. And it's really important to pay attention to that. Like, a lot of employers are seeking foreign born workers. So they're saying, like, look, Americans, like, respect y'all not having the skill set. That's a shot at me too. I guess I'm not having the skill set. So they're taking foreign workers over us. And then this is all going back to why your degree is important. That goes back to why your degree is important. Because now, like I said, I always say, you're not, like, at least in the United States, you're not just competing, or even when you go to college, you're not competing with just people in America. You're competing with people from all parts of the world. And when you realize that, I think it's a harsh reality, but it's the real truth. Like, then you got to deal with, like, the political. That's going to lead into I think I'm going to talk about that next. That's what leads into the admissions problem, like with Trump and admissions. Like, then you got to deal with the political drama of, like, famous wealthy people, kids get into these colleges you didn't get in, but you might be better. People coming from different countries getting in, and then other people getting. As you think about it, you just like, dang, my chances of getting into this school just keep lower, lower, lower. So then you try to realize, how do I separate myself apart to get in? I tell you all, if you want to get into a prestigious institution, I know they're going to ask for a letter of recommendations, because top schools got to really, like, figure out how to separate you. So, like, if you need, like, letter of recommendations while doing a college application, for example, because I had to get 2 of them for graduate school. A college application is a college application. So, like, if you need letter recommendations, like, you need to learn how to do community service. Like, I know some people are going to be like, how is this possible? You need to try to figure out, how can you get a letter of recommendation from the governor? How can you get a letter of recommendation from somebody with doctoral degrees? How can you get a letter of recommendation from someone with a very nice title? That's why titles matter in regards. Like, people who have well-known notoriety is very good. Like, they say it don't matter. It's kind of like that. It's kind of like that part in the stock market world where they say, oh, you don't need to know how to do this, when in reality, you probably do need to know. It's kind of like that. Like, in order for you to, like, really, like, if you got a letter of recommendation from Elon Musk, like, he went to Stanford. So if you got a letter of recommendation from Elon Musk saying, hey, this student should go here, what you think they're going to do? They're going to let you into the school. Like, Elon saying, this person can surpass me. And then you're going to get into the school. And I don't care what nobody says, because who wants to be the person that did not accept the student that Elon said that can surpass him potentially? Who wants to? Okay. I'm gonna set my water on that real quick. Not me, but it's gonna. Then you come and say, well, who knows Elon Musk? Then it's like, oh, well, maybe you met him at a community event. What they call those? A volunteer event. Maybe you came across him at a conference. Like, you or somebody else. You might never know who you might come across in life, and then work a community service event. Like, you get a letter of recommendation from Obama. He does plenty of community service events and stuff. And so it's just, like, many ways to get these, like, or in your local city, if you're trying to go to your state school. That's a strategy I always say, like, try to aim for, like, what school. If you pick a school, if you got your top 3 schools and you're doing 1 to 3, and you like, okay, who was pretty big, they went to this school and they're near me, and it's possible to work their event, stay kind of close where I can get a letter of recommendation. Or if not from them, the person who's, like, next to them, like, kind of try to do that, because that goes a long way as well. And so I think that's really it on that topic. But degrees are valuable. They're gaining value. It's more in that article, as we always say. But remember, guys, you can always find this article if you want to go through it. Data is always fun. Did I read the whole document? No. Did not read the whole document. But I just gotta let you know, so you don't go based off that data and be like, oh, that's what's going on. And there's always more to the data. So please don't go off that little data as the whole runway. So the next topic, let me make sure, guys. I don't want to give you guys the wrong topics. Next. Yeah, Trump and emissions. Trump and emissions. That's next. And in between the break, I don't know what's going on with March Madness. So let me see real quick. Let's check on March Madness real quick. Maybe I'll get some people from March Madness to come check this out. Let's see right quick. So this is men's, of course. Okay, guys, let me be clear. I saw the women's college basketball game. It was Syracuse versus UConn. That game was awful. I was getting physical therapy. UConn girls, women, UConn women were beating Syracuse girls like 48-8. I said, can you not? But let's get back into this. Men's basketball, Alabama. Check them out. Told you the South, known for them sports. UConn is still in it. I said UConn was gonna go pretty far. And so I actually got a proof, y'all. I got a bracket. One of my bros took a picture of the bracket. And so Iowa beat Florida is interesting. I don't follow college basketball a lot, but I know people are talking about it. So I got to make sure they find my video somehow. And so, hello, is that the most recent one? This is March 22nd. It's March 24th. Oh, the next game ain't till March 26th. So, okay. Y'all probably like, you're late. I'm a little late. Purdue is still winning. No, I don't. I ain't catch them that much. Kentucky got blowed out. St. John's still in it. Okay, guys. So I was watching Providence a lot this season. So I got to see St. John's play a lot. I do think St. John's is like most people. I don't know if they got them going to the championship. I got St. John's going just because I've seen them play so much. They are really pretty good. But you know who their head coach is. And they got a dominant center and a deep bench. They really have a deep bench. And so Tennessee beat Virginia. See, that's another elite institution, though. Like Virginia is considered elite institution, guys. Believe it or not. And it's no coincidence that their basketball program is very good. Just like who else is on here? Florida. I just did a presentation on how Florida had a great basketball program and they just made it to the second round. I think that's like Sweet 16 technically. And so students are going to come because actually one of their students, believe it or not, let me see. I think his last name is Lee. Actually, he transferred. Let me see. Florida transfer from Ivy. He should pop up. Let me see. Basketball. Lord. Yeah, Lee. His name is Xavier Lee. All right, perfect. Before we go back into the topic, this is good dialogue. So Xavier Lee, he's an interesting kid because he's really good at basketball for one. But on top of being good, he went to Princeton University first. He was a Princeton Ivy Leaguer. And then, Angry fan spam $6 million. Angry fan spam $6 million Florida players Instagram account after March Madness upset. But he was a Princeton Ivy League player. Then he transferred to the University of Florida. And then you might think like, this is theory. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure he is in his parents. They're strict on his grades because he went to Princeton first. He went to Princeton. And then after being at Princeton for 2, 3, however many years, I don't know how many years he was there, he went to University of Florida. University of Florida has a great academic research. They are a great academic research institution because guys, we show the American institutions, like the National American institutions in America. It's like 32 of them, I think, or something like that. And the University of Florida is considered a highly respectable research institution. So I'm theorizing that's why he went to the University of Florida. He probably had other schools, but he chose the University of Florida because their academics is still great. So if basketball don't work out, he might go pro, whatever, do a pro career. But after the pros is done, he might say, well, I get into this, whatever it might be in life. So he still has a great education as a backup. And then, believe it or not, Iowa is also a prestige institution as well. And it's one more I want to say up here. I don't too much know about UCLA and UConn and stuff. I haven't researched them enough to be like, yeah, they are. But Arkansas, no. No, not great. No. Unless somebody can prove to me wrong, no. But I think I'm gonna say that's really it as far as like academics up there. But it's always a good talk. No, seeing that pattern, seeing that work like that, because you go from because you don't want to go to no school, man. That's not good in sports. And say I just want to win, and you don't win. You want to play it right. Like I want to get a great return on investment for going to school. It's free too. You want to make sure you capitalize on that. And I think you get NILs and stuff. So back in 2023, I think I still got that video up. Y'all remember when the affirmative action got shut down in 2023? I was just starting graduate school. That's why I can remember the timeline. That was 3 years ago. That's crazy. Time flies. And so the economic affirmative action is working. That's what they're saying. So low-income students are the beneficiaries of the Supreme Court striking down race-conscious admissions. So everybody don't know. But this is all right. So I might have all my DEI people getting mad at me. I might have all my Democratic people getting mad at me. Sure, I might have everybody mad at me. So there's so many ways I want to go about it. So if you're watching on LinkedIn, say something. Don't just leave me out here to gripe or whatever the word is. So when this happened at the time, everybody thought that pretty much the DEI people, minorities, you get the gist of it. They thought it was going to be the end of the world. They thought like minorities or everybody would not be able to go to school. And if you're going to pull data from both sides of things, I like to say, and find the positivity in like the outcome, because a lot of people might still say without showing you the stats. Like that's what I got up here. This is from PPI. I don't know who PPI is, but people might pull up stuff and not show you like the actual survey, the actual information, like, because this is an opinion. This article right here is an opinion. This right here, this is an opinion. And so, but they usually pull from stuff like this and put it into what? An opinion, an article. And so pretty much, because I don't know all that. All I know is that since the Supreme Court, minorities have been doing well as far as going to college. So in 2023, as I said before, the U.S. Supreme Court landmarked students for fair admissions v. Harvard decision struck down racial preferences in college admissions. In the time since, the admission system of selective colleges have become fairer and more open to low income and working class students. And so I think that's what it stands for, Students for Fair Admissions. Yeah. So Students for Fair Admissions. Let me zoom in for y'all. That looks very tiny. Goodness gracious. So SFFA, Students for Fair Admissions. Elite colleges considered race as a major factor in admissions. And y'all know, like, I don't know who it was. Probably was Trump. Probably was Biden. I don't know. Let me know in the chat. We can always find out right now in Google, but it's a little risky because I'm going to go over AI overview, and that could be risky. But the U.S. Supreme Court made the final decision. I don't know who initiated it. So elite colleges considered race as a major factor in admissions. They also employed a set of preferences that mostly helped well-off students. You see what they said right there? They also employed a set of preferences that mostly helped well-off students, including the children of alumni or faculty. Yeah, if you didn't know, if faculty want a kid, like if a faculty member works at an institute like a Harvard or whatever, and their kid wants to go there, they be helping them. And you already know about alumni. Just saying. So as a result, many top colleges were racially integrated but economically segregated. At Harvard University, a majority of students, Harvard ain't getting no love. They got the Epstein stuff going on. I told y'all, Harvard be getting in trouble. Harvard be them the bad boys. They always in trouble. So at Harvard University, a majority of students were non-white, but were 15 times as many wealthy. A majority of students were non-white, but were 15 times as many wealthy students as low-income students. Did I read that wrong? At Harvard University, a majority of students were non-white. Okay. At Harvard University, a majority of students were non-white, but there were 15 times as many wealthy students as low-income students. Okay, I got that. Okay, I got it that time. Almost 3/4 of Black, Hispanic, and Native American students at Harvard came from the richest 20% of the Black, Hispanic, and Native American populations nationally. So, that's a hard word right there. The paucity of hey, why they had to use that word? Why did they have to use that word? Out of all words to say. Out of all words to say. Paucity. The presence of something only in small or insufficient quantities or amounts. Scarcity. Why you just gonna say scarcity? Just gotta be a writer. So the paucity of students from working class families, which typically have more culturally conservative values, perpetuate an ideological monoculture. The system was deeply unpopular, and 68% of the public supported the Supreme Court ruling in their racial preferences. So, yeah. Because I'll be honest with you, when this happened, when affirmative action happened, I was looking at it from more a general perspective. It wasn't like I broke it down from X to Z. It was or A to Z. It was just literally me talking generally like, oh, this is not good. You know, trying to get some views. And so one affirmative action for upper income minority students became unavailable. One affirmative action for upper income minority students became unavailable. Several highly selective universities announced new programs to enroll more low income and working class students, a disproportionate share of whom were likely to be Black and Hispanic. Some institutions eliminated legacy preferences. They said they eliminated legacy preferences. It probably still goes on. It probably doesn't, but I remember like California was one of them. Some institutions eliminated legacy preferences. Many adopted new financial aid programs. Some began sending more recruiters to low-income high schools. Others set explicit goals for boosting economic diversity. In 2024, Duke University Dean of Admissions said that enhancing economic diversity was clearly helpful for us this year in terms of racial diversity and enrollment. So for all my people who work in like admissions, like enrollment, working in that stuff a lot, like going to conferences. Like when I say all these are different areas in higher education, and you can learn them over time, but like these are like broken down to science. That's how much separate each of these sections are in colleges. And then they talk about, did I skip that? Yeah, this paragraph right here. So then, you know, I like to like skim around, like to just go line for line, like I'm reading the whole thing to you. Like I don't really have the best I don't know. I had to let people tell me if I got a good narrating voice to be reading stuff to y'all like that. But you can see it. So right here, wish I had my financial aid person right here. They said that The post SFFA efforts are continuing to bear fruit. In a new Progressive Policy Institute study by colleague Aiden Shannon, and I found that the share of students eligible for federal Pell Grants, which go to low income and working class students. Now, remember, our financial aid specialist told us that, hey, that is not just for low income, it's not for just working class. That can go to people in high income tax brackets and all that good stuff. But that increased at 83% of top colleges for which data were available. So if you was low income, working class, students at these, what did they specify with schools? Oh, at top colleges. So if you was going to the top colleges, that increased at 83% for top colleges. And then the findings are in accord with the 2025 Associated Press analysis of 17 highly selective colleges, which found that almost all saw increases in Pell eligible students between 2023 and this year, which is 2026. So more information, more about low income to high income, more about the affirmative action working, all the good stuff, right? The good jazz. Shout out to, I think, Richard D. Kallenberg. I want to say it's Kallenberg. I bet I got that right too. I bet I pronounced that right. What you looking for? So I want to say that's where they pulled this from. Because admissions, affirmative action was not one of my biggest topics. It's one of those out the comfort zones. But I believe they got this from here. How am I getting? No, yeah, it's the same thing. The rise of economic affirmative action. Universities are finding new and better paths to diversity. And so the whole gist I wanted to get out of this was that the whole gist I want to get out of it. You should better find this article. I believe it's free. I don't know if it's free or not to you all, but the gist I want to get out of it is like school, at least from what they're saying, that schools are looking for low income students. Schools are looking for middle income students. And it highlights the what me and Sam was talking about on Friday. I don't know if it was last Friday. I'm not sure. My days be flying. When me and Sam was talking on Friday, on that Financial Aid Friday, that these top schools have more money in the pot. So if you complete your financial aid and if you are Pell eligible, right? Great money. They have more money in the pot because they're such a big school with these endowments and alumni and all this other stuff. Like you seen, they had Duke in there, they had Harvard. I think I seen something with Yale coming up. Let me see. I think I seen it when I was scrolling. Let me see. Yeah, see something with Yale. So in Dartmouth, also said it grew its share of its first generation college students to a record-setting level. So these schools are looking for more low-income students, middle income, maybe high income, but they already got high income with these students. They're trying to pull more money because that is money from the federal government. Am I saying that that's good that schools are just trying to get kids for their money? It's kind of like a trade-off, right? We get a kid from a low-income environment, middle class environment, and we get them some of the best education they'll probably get in a lifetime. And these schools, like I said, have money in endowments, alumni, and God knows where else they're pulling this money from, right? And you have a chance to go to these schools. That is showing that they're increasing your chances to go. And don't get caught up in the stigma. Like, oh, they shut down affirmative action. You don't have a chance at going to the big schools, the top schools. Like one of the things I regret coming out of high school, if you are in high school or you are in college, considering to transfer to the Ivy, because it's literally about top schools in this one. Like if you are at a community college right now, I hope you're at a community college listening to me talk. I hope you're coming out of high school listening to me talk. If you're at a university and you're like, well, maybe I should go Ivy. Based on your situation, depending who you are, like one of the things I wish I could have did, guys, is like I kind of wish I would have tried to go to Ivy. I didn't realize how much these schools have this amount of money that can make it a lot more easier for you to go to school potentially. Because like me and Sam broke it down. I went to Valdosta State University. There's nothing wrong with Valdosta State University, but they wasn't like, I had a good GPA when I transferred. So I should have got some extra money, right, when I went to the school because my GPA was pretty good. But my school is not that wealthy. So Harvard, Yale, Dartmouth, many more are considered top-notch schools, wealthy schools, and they can give more money to their students, which is very helpful. And so when you do that, it's like, well, what makes Ivy so much better, Henry? I thought you said community colleges. I am a very, very, very big community college advocate. But as I grow and learn that, so I see why some people, like we had G on here, and G allegedly said that he went to Ivy and he didn't pay anything. He shopped his way around to see what school is going to get him more money. But the only way you can shop your way around, guys, is that you have to do this in advance. You have to like really be shopping yourself around and working and applying to schools or doing the comment app. If the school's all on the comment app, shop your way around and see who's going to give you the most money to go to school per year. So then you be like, okay, they're looking to give me this. How much is it going to be? Do I need to stay off campus? See, now we strategizing how to save money in college. But me, based on my situation coming from low income, I didn't know that. So I did what best with what I know. I said, look, I'm going to start at 2-year. And then once I caught on to the rhythm, I said, oh, yeah, I got to stay off campus. No, I don't want a meal plan. Because anybody that try to front you money is never good. It's never going to work out for you. Which means loaning you money and saying like, you can go get a loan and then take the money from the loan to go pay for school. That's a trap. That's a preferred lender arrangement. So I knew like, look, I can't stay on campus. I can't get a meal plan. When I transferred to my university, same recipe. But before I transferred to my university, how much they gonna charge me per semester? Can I pay that in cash? Can I pay that in cash? Harry, you have how you gonna do that with rent, bills? So like, guys, look, man, if you're not trying in life, you're not gonna be able to go to college. If you're not working, you're not gonna be able to go to college. Like the reason I say if you're not working is like, yeah, you can try to rely on the Pell. Like if you are a Pell student or if you got scholarship money, but that's still like one-time payments. And sometimes it goes directly to the school. Pell should come back to you, but in most cases, I'm just saying like, if you get any type of money, sometimes it goes directly to the school. It might get refunded back to you. And so you're going to need some cash flow. And what that means is you're going to need some money to pay for, like, if you want to go eat at, some of y'all be eating too much at them restaurants, take out. But if you want to go eat at like Chipotle, McDonald's, Burger King, whatever, right? Or go have fun, like that's cash flow money, that's spending money. And so you want to really prioritize paying for your education because you're paying for it. You're paying for it. You're paying for it. And this strategy, like from the 2-year to the 4-year, the articulation agreement, it's just helpful, man. It's just helpful. It just helps you save a lot of money. And, like, I know I talked about the refund checks before. That's like one of my first videos, man. I feel like I'm in the fall, like not the fall off stage, but I feel like I'm grinding right now. Like that's the part where you just forget about me. But that was like one of my best videos, like the refund check, because when I got my refund check, I put it in the market. Disclaimer, not financial advisor. I put it in the market. Like you should get a financial advisor. You should get somebody who can manage money. Tell them the index fund. Don't be risky. Can you trust them? I don't know. But if they're not explaining it to you like you're 5 years old or like you're in the 5th grade in simple terms, they're probably not the person for you. And I just love talking about this. I wanted to cover another article about Trump cracking down on admissions. I really want to talk about that. That's kind of interesting right now because Trump is cracking down on admissions right now. And it's been a topic. It seems like it's growing a little bit. It seems like it's growing. Let me check. I really gotta do some other stuff. It's 9:20. Today is Tuesday. We got another live screen Thursday. I can talk. No, because if I'm not gonna give him out all, I'm not gonna do it to you all. So we're gonna stop there because I gotta do some other stuff, guys. Some other stuff for the business. So I'm gonna cut it right there. Focus. So I'm gonna do some other stuff. It's been a good live screen. I appreciate everybody that stopped by, showed up. If y'all wondering, I do be looking at y'all. My camera's up here, but I'm looking like at the screen, like at myself right through there. It's better than looking up, better for my neck. But I appreciate everybody showing up, stopping by for a little bit, getting the education. I'm trying to keep the live screens not too long, not too crazy, so people can watch it in bits. Because 2-3 hours is crazy, but I would stay on. If I got people in here, I'll stay on with them. But we're working our way up there. So we'll be back on Thursday. I think about it. And yeah, we'll be back on Thursday. And then the college admissions with Trump, I will definitely move that to Thursday. That'll be the first topic. I'm gonna write that down with my notebook. Okay, down there. That's gonna be the first topic we talk about on Thursday. And then that's probably gonna be, I'm thinking about doing the college review with Sam. I want to see what he gonna say when we do a college breakdown. I feel like it'd be pretty good with Sam. I feel like Sam brings that financial aid perspective and we're doing the college. So then we can do all that on Friday. And Fridays give y'all something more to look to, something to look more toward to. So I'm gonna say that for Friday doing the college review. And then yeah, we just gonna be back Thursday. And remember, college education is important. Remember, if you are deciding to go to a 4-year, we all support going to Ivy, especially if you're not gonna pay any money because they're gonna offer you a lot of money. Hopefully, just let us know. But remember, our main strategy is this: we prefer you to start a 4-year, but not 4-year. Lord, somebody gonna clip that and use it against me. We prefer you start a 2-year, but we want to make sure your dream school 4-year, because what that does is that lets you know what 2 years have a pathway agreement, articulation agreement with this 4-year. So you need to make sure your 4-year has an agreement, one of these types of agreements with the 2-year that you might end up at. Because one thing about it, I want to move away from home, or I want to get away. Cool. If you want to move away and get away from home, then you can do that at the 2-year and pay less at school and still go live on your own early if you want to do that. I didn't move out until I was 21. Don't rush. Trust me, don't rush. I know a lot of y'all it's too expensive out here now, so a lot of y'all probably relate to me on that. But definitely you want to make sure. And sometimes your 2-year college has other articulation agreements with different 4-year colleges that might intrigue you as you go through your 2 to 3 years at your community college. Because at first I planned on going to a school in Alabama, Troy. I thought about going to it's called Columbus State University. I thought about going to them. That was in Columbus, Georgia. But then I was like, I had too many parking tickets at Columbus State University, to be real. So I wasn't going there. And then the Alabama one, because my sister went there. And then I was like, I thought about going there. But then I was like, it wasn't aligning. So then I decided to go to Valdosta State to finish up my bachelor's. But they had an articulation agreement with Valdosta State. So my welding classes, my certificates, they apply as electives. And that's how I was able to graduate in a year and a half. And then I only paid, while being there, I only paid about $57, pretty much $6,000 while I was there total at that state university. Lived off campus, had 2 other roommates, had some weird roommates. Guys, I'm telling you, I had some weird roommates. But it's life, it's stories. And so that's why we live, right? And so you don't have to get 2 roommates. I was just being really cheap. You can get 1 roommate. And then, yeah. And if you know somebody, I recommend keeping your distance and staying independent. But tell your friends, I respect it. Family and friends, I respect it. I know you want to help. But I prefer this person to be responsible for their rent and I'll be responsible for my rent. And so these are just some ways to give you strategies, because the way time's going, you're definitely going to need a roommate. You're definitely going to need a job while going to college. And you definitely need to get a car that's going to be reliable. And I had a cash car at the time. I don't know if cash cars are hard to get nowadays, because the times are different. Like literally, when I got my car, I paid $2,500 for it. That was my first car, cash, from a school refund check. That is hard to do today. That is hard to do today. I haven't seen the used car prices, but you get what I'm saying. So I appreciate everybody stopping. Remember, 2-year, 4-year, live off campus, no meal plans, live off campus, 2-year to 4-year. That's how we did it. You want to know more, just tap in with us. We just telling the truth. We lived it. We did it. And as my big bro Sam would say, we got the letters to even prove it. So peace, love, chicken grease. I hope I said that right. Sam will give me if I didn't. And I'll see you all Thursday. Sure.